I also wanted to talk about, you mentioned actually the last time we talked, you mentioned something about ATS style resumes. Did you
Mhm.
have an issue with those? Or maybe it was because people are just firing off those resumes to every place and it's getting
Yeah.
ridiculous?
I don't know if you noticed. I just noticed, like, when you said ATS, I took a deep breath and let it out because it's a source of anxiety for me.
All right, I want to hear this.
And I'm sure it's a source of anxiety for a lot of people. Basically, so first of all, I've seen your videos where you break out like how to create a resume that's ATS friendly, and that's great. Not many people do that. But if I have a straightforward resume, why do I need to check all these boxes to go through this automation system? I feel it's ridiculous. True, there should be standards, and I'm a firm believer in having standards, but also a firm believer in common sense. And ATS is not always common sense. In fact, a lot of times I feel like because of ATS and sometimes their difficult and very enigmatic standards, I feel that they weed out qualified candidates that they otherwise would want to hire, the ideal candidate, just because of some small issue with the ATS. And I feel like that's so dumb. On the other hand, I do see, like we were just talking about, having thousands of people apply for that one job. That is where an ATS could come in handy. So I also see that side. So how would I do this? One, you do have to post the job. I would be really clear and specific about requirements. And this might give you some insights on why people say they need a college degree or certification, because they're trying to figure out, like, the ideal person that is curious enough about a job probably has a certification. And if they don't, I'll put or equivalent experience, because we
Or
need to
equivalent.
know that they have that experience. And I might say this is where you must live in this region, because we need to understand, like, what the market is and what to pay, and also time zones, because that matters. There's a lot of factors that go into it. So I would be really specific in the criteria. I would evaluate the resumes personally, and this is a process that I've done and I will continue to do. I'll look at them personally. I'll have questions. If it seems like they might be a good fit, I have three piles, right? Might be a good
Mhm.
fit. I'll put them in the middle. If they seem like they're a great fit and they're an ideal candidate, I put them on the left, in like top candidate. And if they seem like they don't really fit here, but they're just looking for some a foot in my case, I couldn't hire entry level people. These were just, the role was just too senior, and we couldn't
Yes.
afford to take on an entry level role. So I'd put them in this right side. And so by doing that, I now had three categories. So unqualified, and then we would send out an email. Sorry, you don't seem to have the qualifications at this time. Check out some of our other roles. And the ones that were possible, I'd go through and make a short list. We'd go through the interviews, and it was on first come, first serve. And then the top candidates, those were the ones that were hardest, because a lot of times the top candidates don't fit your budgetary constraints for compensation.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't always get the top candidates because they're going to cost more. They're in high demand. So of
Yes.
course they're going to have a higher salary requirement. So you're probably going to get someone from that middle pile, and that's usually how to go about it. I'm sorry, what was your question again?